Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining another episode of VS Code live stream. So, I am not going to waste any time. We have a special guest that I want to go ahead and immediately introduce, and we could jump right into it.
Hey
Hello.
Reynald, can you hear me? I can't hear you anymore. I was hearing you like few seconds ago. I don't know if it's me or you, but I can't hear you anymore.
Right now, you still can't hear me?
Let's see. Yeah, I can't hear anymore. Sorry about the technical issue. Let me just come back. I'll come back
No
really
problem.
quick.
All right. And that was our stream for today. Thank you so much for joining, folks. I'm kidding. Don't go. Don't leave me. So it's cool. We sometimes need to just like address these like tech issues just right off the bat. Keeps us on our toes. But yeah, we're gonna be talking about improving SQL development. So I'm gonna have Carlos chat about that. I feel like I haven't heard about SQL in a long time with all the chat about uh, AI and Copilot and all the LLMs that are coming out. It's like SQL used to be a star, and now it's like not being talked about. It's like, hey, what about me, folks? I used to be somebody. So in the chat, we just have someone that just joined right now. Spirit Box. Good morning, Spirit Box. I think from Twitch. And yes, you are the first. So thank you. Wish I had a trophy to share with you. Got any jokes for us, Ronald? I just did one. That was my sequel joke. Um, so Carlos will be coming back soon, so bear with us. There he is.
Hey, can you hear me okay now?
I could always have heard you. I could.
I
I
don't
could
know what happened.
hear me now.
It's live, so that always
Could have done the
happens.
sign language if you wanted me to. Just. I'm kidding. I can't do sign language.
No, okay. How do you want to start? Sorry, I'm just catching up here.
No problem. I was just saying hello to some people and then trying to like insert some jokes to kill some time. The first sequel joke I thought went okay. The second one I slipped by and got radio silence, but that's all right.
Oh, okay.
We have another person just joined. Ian, how often does Copilot or agents use SQL? All right, well, we'll start getting into it, but let's just do a nice intro first. Uh,
Mhm.
Carlos Robles, how are you doing this morning,
Uh,
Carlos?
Doing great. Thanks for having me. Really excited to be here today.
Yeah, we're glad that you were able to make it. So, what are we going to chat about, Carlos?
Well, we'll be talking about the MSSQL extension for VS Code. So all the different things, different features that we have been introducing into the extension. We'll be talking about GitHub Copilot for sure. We're talking about how Copilot can help you to build an app from the scratch, or even when you are like asked to do something you're not familiar with that project.
Mhm.
So, yeah, lots of exciting stuff that I have to show today.
Perfect. And before we jump right in, can you give us a little background about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Carlos Robles. I am originally from Guatemala, but I've been living in the United States for, I would say, the past 8 years. I'm a product manager, a principal product manager in the SQL Developer Experiences team here at Microsoft. That means that I'm part of this team that is responsible for building the different tools, the different services you can use to build apps, to connect to your databases, do fun stuff with SQL, whether it is SQL Server, Azure SQL, or SQL database in Fabric. So yeah.
Cool. All right. So before we even like jump into your demo, can you answer what En just asked? Uh,
Let me check the comments real quick.
Go ahead. Yeah.
How often those Copilot or agents use SQL? I don't know that I don't have a good answer for that because it's up to the end user, right? So Copilot can use can that can connect to a SQL database, and that's what I'm going to show today. So I don't think I have a good answer. I would say like out of the box, Copilot can do a lot of amazing things, and if you I would say you use the right tools for the right job, you can do a lot. So in this case, I'm going to show you how you can use our integration using these extensions. So Copilot understands the schema and can help you with all things about SQL.
This is going to be interesting because just last week I had put out a video, and one of the demos showed how you could use, the video was about custom modes. And
okay.
One of the modes that I did was SQL optimization. And so I was able to like set it up so that you could like drop in like some SQL code and optimize it. So I'll be interested to see like how something like that could work with the extension, or if it would not even be needed because of like this extension. But yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at this extension that you have.
Okay, absolutely. So let's go ahead and get started. Everything starts here on vscode, of course. And if you want to use the extension, you need to go to the marketplace and then search for MSSQL. Once you search for MSSQL, you can install, just install the extension. I already have the extension. In fact, I have a new version of the extension that is not public yet. We are working on a hotfix. We find an issue with GitHub Copilot yesterday, so we'll be introducing a hotfix really soon. So I'm using the latest version here. These front page or overview or rate me provides you with a lot of information. If you click here, it will take you to the playlist we have in YouTube with examples about the different features we have. You can find documentation, information about all our features that are in GA, our features that are still in public preview. So lots of information here. Once you install the extension comes with what is called extension pack. That means that it's going to install some other satellite extensions. It's like a bundle, right? So it installs SQL database projects, SQL bindings for Azure Functions if you want to use that, and data workspace. So if you want to take advantage of these other extensions, they come as part of the MSSQL extension. So you have to look for them separately. Okay, so that's it. So once you have the extension, you are ready to go.
And those
as
are
you can
required,
see,
right? Like you
say that again.
And those are required. Like you can't install them like separately.
You can, but I can show you something. That's a very interesting question. Yeah, it comes with the package here. But if you, let's say for whatever reason, you don't want to use SQL database projects, you can disable SQL database projects and the extension will work. But you will be losing features because you won't be able to use SQL database projects integrated with the extension. So yeah, it's up to you. Like you can disable, enable these other extensions that comes with the extension. I wouldn't recommend it personally, but yeah, it's okay. So you can even uninstall, as you can see. It's not a requirement. It's not a hard requirement.
Okay.
All right. Cool. So what's going to show this is super important. This is the main goal of the extension. The extension is designed to empower developers to provide them with a seamless experience that will make their database development or the application development easier when they're dealing with database schemas. And now that, as I mentioned, we have GitHub Copilot, we are looking to make this experience richer and richer. So that's the main goal. This is I would say made for developers. So if you're a developer, let us know. Drop a comment in the chat what else you would like to see in the extension after I show all these different things today. So yeah, let me jump into here really quick. What I want to start by doing, I will cover the basics. Let's cover the basics. The most basic thing in our extension, or the first thing any developer will do is when you're working with a new project, you need to connect to a database. So the connection experience is the first thing. It's like the front door, right? So let me show you that. And you see that I have a couple of things here. I have 2 folders, and this is something new. So let's start by that. So connection groups, that's I would say one of the highly requested features we introduced a couple of releases ago. With these, you can just simply organize your connections by folders and also colors. So if you want to use this color or you want to change to a different color here, super easy, straightforward. And I'm going to select this color and I'll go with demo for the connection group, and that's it. I have a connection group. Super basic, right? But it's important. Then if you want to create a new connection, you can click on this plus icon here, and obviously this is going to open the connection dialog. From here, let me just zoom out. There you go. And from here, you can decide how do you want to connect to your database. So you see that we have parameters here. This is when you have all the information about your server and you will be entering every single detail manually. You can load the connection from a connection string. So if you have a connection string, simply copy the connection string, drop it here, and you can just simply fill out this dialog with that. And I'll show you a neat little trick here afterwards that you can even copy an existing connection, a string from an existing connection. I'll show you that later. If you would be using something like Azure, we have the Azure Browse Experience that is going to connect to your Azure account, and it's going to show you the different resources you have under that account. You can filter by subscription, you can filter by resource group, it depending on what you want to do. I'll keep it light here.
Quick
Go ahead. Yes, please.
Yeah. So we have someone that asked, Manoj Kumar, in the context of this demo, does SQL mean SQL Server or SQL language in general?
Oh, that's a great question. Yeah. So the demo today is for SQL Server for sure. So I'm going to use TSQL, which is the, let's say, native database language, transact language for SQL Server. But the extension is compatible, not because SQL Server is, I would say, we have different flavors, right? So it's compatible with Azure SQL Database, Azure SQL Managed Instance, SQL Database in Fabric, SQL Server running on a VM, SQL Server running on a different cloud, SQL Server running on a container. So you can connect to any different SQL Server flavor here. But yes, the demo is about SQL Server today.
Okay. And you said the natural language you're using is, did you say DSQL?
T as in tomato. TSQL is the transact. Yeah.
Okay, I was like, I hadn't heard that when I was going to like.
No worries. It's my microphone and my accent.
And Mahesh, this is kind of unrelated, but you might want to check out LinkedIn Learning. Although I have thought and like mentioned that before, they asked if we could upload a C# course on a vscode channel. Check out on LinkedIn Learning. There's plenty there, but I have like mentioned that before regarding courses like using a VS Code, but we have like so many other features and content specific to VS Code, so we really haven't had the opportunity to do anything like that. But definitely check out LinkedIn Learning. I didn't want to ignore your question, so there you go.
Cool. All right, so yeah, there is a comment right there from Crash Systems. It says the first thing you do when connecting to a database is swear at it, make it respect your authority. Well, with Copilot, you don't have to swear anymore. Copilot can help you to understand your schema better, and I'll get to that. So that was super funny. All right, so let's connect to a database here really quick. I'm going to call these just demo, the same name as the folder. And you can see here that I can select a different folder, so I can even create a different connection group if I want from this dialog. So I'll stick with demo here. The server name, I'm going to use a container. And by the way, my container has a very unique port, as I remember. And I'll get into containers in a second. So yeah, it's this container right here. So let me clear the screen really quick. So it's 1434. That's the port. And of course, because it's a SQL container, we're using the SA user to connect. And that's it. I have a few options here for sure. I can click on advanced and configure other things if I decide to do. For example, change the application name. So when this client tool connects to a database and you check the sessions, this is how the application name is going to be identified. You can see that I can change my application intent to be read-only, different things. And you can just search here, let's say encryption, something like that. So It's very flexible. You can do a lot. I'm going to stick with the basics. I'm going to click Trust Server Certificate, save the password, why not, and connect. And with that, boom, I'm in connected to my container. One thing that I really like about the connection groups and connections in general is like, for example, I have this folder, right? What happens if I decide like, yeah, I don't feel like demo being part of this demo folder. I'll move it to local databases and boom, that's it. See that it's super easy. You can keep your connections well organized and you can decide how you want to do it. So yeah,
Okay,
go ahead.
so a question. For those
Sure.
that haven't like really used SQL that often,
Mm-hmm.
what's the pain point that we're addressing here? Like if we weren't using the extension, what extra work would they have gone through to connect?
Yeah, so the first thing is that you have to have, if I'm a developer working on a project, I want to have all these things in the same environment I'm working on my app, right? So that's the advantage. That's one of the key problems we're solving, that you're using VS Code for your app. You have a way to connect to your database within VS Code. So you have to leave VS Code, use a different tool to connect. That's one. The second, based on if I ask the question based on the context of here, like organizing the connections, sometimes you have to deal with different environments. So you have a production environment, you have a stage, you have whatever, right? QA or call it whatever it is, test. So you can organize your connections using these groups. And I'm going to show you something very neat here. Sometimes when we're running a query, I am one of those lucky ones that never had dropped a production database in my life. So maybe I'm a unicorn. I don't know what happened, but take a look at these, Reynald. The color here, we introduce a setting that helps you identify, like do a correlation. Oh, this is local databases, so my connection is its color blue. Probably doesn't look good because the theme I have, but depending on the theme you are using, it will look better. Probably in this one. So yeah, we recently introduced that. So that's one thing we're solving here. If I connect to a cloud database, maybe that will be, or let's do something. Let's move this back here. And this is a setting, by the way, I forgot to mention. I mentioned that, but I didn't show you. So you can, real quick. So, oh no, that was database projects. So in the extension here, you can click settings, or you can do it with the common palette, whatever you decide, or you can do it using JSON VS Code. So if you click settings here, we'll take you to the extension settings, and then I have these setting enable, which is exactly what I show you. Enables connection colors. So our connections are color code. So that's another problem we're solving here. So let's connect to this guy again. Let's see. Yep, indeed, something happened there. I don't know, but yeah, it's purple.
Oh, I
So
see. Okay.
so you see that that's why I move it. But again, it's because of the theme, right? So if you're using a different theme, maybe it will look better. The contrast is not the best. Right there, looks good. So that's really helpful. That was also another highly requested feature from developers. We want connection groups, we want color code connections. So here we go. We have that. So hopefully that answered the question. It was a long answer, by the way.
It's so great that like I still appreciate that we have just code in different colors, let alone just
Yeah.
a theme here. Like, like there was once a time everything was just green, green text.
Yeah.
Not that I was
Yeah.
coding in the 60s, but I remember seeing computer screens like that. I was just like, oh.
It was not very good for the eyes, right? Right. So let me show you another thing very important about connections. I mentioned about the databases, right? So let me connect to this other instance I have here that is called local database. I'm going to connect to my, let's say, PokeWiki. That was a demo I was working on the other day. So you see right here in the editor, let me close this. We have what is called a code lenses. So that shows you, okay, you are connected to localhost, this port, and this is your database. Also here in the status bar, we have this other option or way for you to identify where it's connected to. So if you want to switch the connection, you can just click on the database here and switch to, for example, Horizon here. Boom, I'm connected to a different database. If you want to connect to a different server, I can click on the server name here and select demo again, and boom, I'm connected to demo. And take a look at this, the color code connection, right? So that is like, oh, let's say this is prod. Oh, I'm connected to prod. Maybe prod will be red or something like that. So
Yeah.
that's something else we introduced that it's really helpful. And again, you don't have to leave VS Code. You have all these things here in this environment. So that's what it makes it really, really good.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
All right, so those are the basics on connection. I would say nothing super exciting. I want to show you something more exciting. So probably you notice here that I have, let me zoom in here. I have different icons for different like database types. So these are like, this is my local container. You can see the Docker icon over there. I have a Fabric database that has like these different icon, and this is an Azure database. So this is because these databases are different types of or flavors of SQL. But we introduced something really important for developers, and it's a way to create local containers. So right here in this connection section, there is an icon here that it says create local SQL container. So after I click on here, let me just zoom in and go back here. I have this overview page, and I can learn a little bit more about local SQL Server containers or SQL containers in overall. There is information about here. By default, the image that we're pulling is SQL Server 2025. There are multiple reasons. 2025 is still on public preview, but it comes with a lot of AI-enabled features. Vector data types. Probably some of you in the chat are very familiar with vector data types. So yeah, you can use vector functions. We have some new JSON functions. So lots of improvements on this in this version of SQL, and that's why we have it. And this is free, right? Because this is the developer edition. So when you create this container, you're not paying for any license. It's a free version. So yeah, this is an overview. You can learn more here from these links. After I click on here, you see that was super fast, right? So because I run these multiple times, but what we do here is we check multiple things. We make sure that Docker is installed. If Docker is not installed, it's going to provide you with the links. It's going to fail and say, hey, you're trying to run a Docker container, but you don't have Docker in your machine. So maybe it will be a good idea to install Docker, right?
Do you have
Then
the Docker desktop installed, or do you
yes,
have?
I do. Yes, that's a requirement for sure. And we have more in the documentation and those links that I show you previously in the prerequisites on the overview page. Sorry, here in the prerequisites, yes, it's checking and making sure you have Docker desktop installed. So check for me. Then Docker has to be up and running. Another check. But here's the interesting part. If Docker is not running, the extension is going to start Docker for you because you want to create containers, right? So we don't want you to leave VS Code again. That's what we're trying to do here, to optimize your workflow, make you more productive. So yeah, if Docker is not installed, you will install it for me. And the last one, this is probably more relevant for Windows users. In Windows, you can run like Windows container, Linux containers. So this check right here is making sure that your Docker engine configuration is set to use Linux containers. In case you don't have it, it will provide you an option that says, do you want me to like configure that for you? And so you don't have to do anything, leave the experience again. So after you clear this prerequisites page, in the next page, you simply need to provide a few inputs here. So as I mentioned in the beginning, SQL Server 2025 is the default, but you can choose if you want to use a different image of SQL Server. Then you have to provide a password. So let's provide a password. You can save the password here. Once again, you need to provide a profile name. The profile name is this name right here in the connections. So I already have demo. So let's call these, I don't know, VS Code demo. I'm not very good at the names today. So VS Code demo, and then connection group. Once again, where do I want to save this? Let's drop it in the demo folder, and you can see that that's it. That's what we are asking from users to like interact here. We're not asking for anything else, but there are some advanced options. If you want to give the container, because containers have different names. If you don't provide a name, it's going to provide a default name, something like SQL Server 2025. If you already have a SQL Server 2025, it's going to do SQL Server 2025_1 and so on. So you don't have to worry about those things. The host name, the same. And this one is a really interesting one, port. How many times, Reynald, let me ask you this, have you ever deal with problems with the ports in Docker? It's like, oh, this port is in use, I cannot create this container, I have to, it is kind of a chore, right? So I've been there, and that's exactly what we're doing here. For example, 1433, it's already in use. And it's telling me, yeah, you probably don't want to use that one. Okay, let's go with 34. Ooh, again, I'm already using that one. So you don't have to do it, but you can provide a port. If you don't provide a port, we're going to do it for you. We'll check if the port is in use. So that's, once again, peace of mind. We want you to focus on building apps using databases. We don't want you to get into a business of managing containers. So that's it.
When it provides the port, if I go into the settings, will I see the port numbers there, or it's just behind the scenes that it assigns the port and I have to, how do I find it?
Yeah, so you can, for example, I have a few containers running here. So if I do docker ps-a, and this looks really bad, but we can fix it. Right there, I think that looks better. You see that I can see the ports, and I'm using, right? So this wizard is going to create everything behind the scenes. You don't have to worry about it. So that's why we provide this advanced options section here. In case you really want to, it's something you really want to do, you can just decide and use your own port, like whatever, 111. But if you don't provide a...
But when it assigns you a port, it's not going to populate it there in that field. That's just behind.
No, yeah, behind the scenes. That is correct. Yeah, you can see the port later, and I will show you that after the container is created, you can edit the connection. You can see the port. So yeah, you don't have to do anything. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to.
Wait,
yeah. Go ahead.
Question from
another question. Yeah, sure.
Han Sohai says, anything that helps with Apache Spark and Hadoop hosted on another computer?
I really don't know if that's a question related to SQL. I'm not an expert in Apache Spark. I'm sorry. So yeah.
Hans, so hi, could you explain if you're going specifically if this could work with Apache Spark, or like a completely different question? All right, so let's continue.
Okay, all right, so let's create this container really quick. And by that, you can see that we're doing many different things here, and we're trying to show as much information in the screen. And right here, it says that, let me just do this. It's pulling the SQL Server image in case you don't have it. Then it's going to create a container. So it's going to create a container. And of course, after you create the container, it's going to start the container. There's a few things we do behind scenes because we need to make sure the container is ready for connections. So when you create a database container, the databases needs to recover, they needs to start, right? And so we check the logs and we make sure the databases are fully recovered. And that happens every time you stop a container or start a container. So that's what we're doing here in the background. And then finally we connect. I think I have a bug here. I'm suspecting. Oh no, there you go. It's moving along. I don't know why it was taking a little bit longer. I will check that later. As I said, I have a special build here that we just built last night. So probably there is something here. But yeah, I have a few containers already there. Right now it's doing what I mentioned. It's checking the logs. So that's very important. And when you create database containers and you stop and start the containers and you try to connect to the container immediately, sometimes you get like connection rejected or something like that. It's for that reason, because it's not fully ready. So that's what we're trying to do here. I need to check what's going on. Maybe it's something going on with my environment here, or the new version we just introduced last night. But yeah, something is going on really slow here.
We have
I have another contain. Go ahead.
we have a question from
Yes,
Caesar.
sure.
Hola, Carlos. Is it possible to extract a query or even a table and use Copilot to analyze it, or even better, use any MCP tool for that? I'm really interested in exploring this.
Okay, that's an easy answer. Yes, yes, and yes. So yeah, you can do all those things. I will show you that in my GitHub Copilot demo. You can do reverse engineering basically, right? So extract a TSQL code, have Copilot to analyze the code, or if you want to use an MCP server, why not, right? So yeah, you can do all those things. My container is stuck right now. As I said, I don't know what's going on. I have another container here that is called demo. So I'm going to close this right now,
How
and
do we
I'm going to focus. Go ahead.
how do we know like the container is stuck? Like how long should someone expect it to take
Yeah, the
realization?
regular time should be seconds. As I said, I have these special. The container is here. Maybe there is something going on with the container. It says exit, so maybe there is an error here with my machine. But you can see that I'm using this is an alias, but I can do Docker ps-a. But this is really large. That's why I have an alias for that command. The one I created had an issue, so maybe it's something related to my machine. Unfortunately, that's not experience we are looking for. As I said, we are introducing new things, and this is not a fully production build. That's
Mm.
something we're dealing with some issues, and we're like testing things out. So unfortunately, it didn't work. So yeah, it's a matter of seconds, I would say.
Okay.
But you can watch the recordings in demos and the links we share. You can see this in action. And actually, I'm going to use that. Doesn't matter, like it didn't work for the creation, but I can do more stuff. For example, I have this other like demo here. And one thing that happens when we're dealing with containers is that sometimes you need to stop the containers, right? Or maybe let's say you just like sign off for the day, shut down your machine, and the next day the container is down, right? So let's simulate that, but you can see that right here, if I do a right click, I can do stop container, and that's going to stop the container for me. So I don't have to use Docker commands. I don't have to use the terminal or anything like that. Hopefully that's going to work because as I mentioned, I'm using this special build. Yeah, it worked. So as you can see, my demo container was stopped. What happens if I have to connect again? I would say normally you have to go to Docker desktop and just click the play button over there or start button or do it on a command line. We'll want you to leave vscode. So by clicking connect right there, this extension is going to start a container for you and connect. Right now it's checking the logs, as I mentioned before, checking the logs, making sure everything is okay, and then it's going to connect. So if we check Docker real quick, let me like clear. Oh yeah, it's up and running. So yeah, I wanted to show you that the Docker container was up probably. So yeah, it happened really fast. If you decide to remove the container, you can do it. So delete container right here. This option is going to delete the container, but also it's going to delete the connection because we don't want to leave anything like orphan objects in objects where. So this is going to delete the container. At the same time, it's going to delete this connection from here. So next time you want to create a new connection called demo, you can do it. Or next time you can create a new container called demo, you can do it. So done. So
So
you
it's
see that. Go ahead.
so it's saving a lot of time from having to like manually enter a Docker command.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly the goal. Unfortunately, the creation didn't work, as I mentioned, but yeah, that's the typical use case for containers. Create a container, stop your containers, manage your containers here. I don't have to worry about all that stuff. And so, yeah. So I think we're ready to switch gears to show you something more interesting. I'm going to focus now. I'm going to delete this so I don't confuse myself. I'm going to I'm going to switch gears and work on the demo and focus in the demo and the GitHub Copilot demo. Sorry.
Okay.
So hopefully that's going to answer some of the questions in the chat. So I have a scenario today. I want to show you this scenario. So the scenario is fairly simple. I have this app that was created using Node and a combination of Node and Sequelize, and has React for the front end. So a backend using JavaScript basically, and front end JavaScript as well using React. It has a SQL database. This database here in this example is running on, let's say, in a server. And it has a schema, super simple schema, because we don't have much time, right? So this is a library management app, and it has 3 tables, basically authors books and books authors like relationship going on. My boss asked me, hey, Carlos, I need you to introduce magazines, like magazines management, to this library app. For whatever reason, some of the authors decided to publish magazines. So I was asked, okay, but guess what, Reynald? I don't have much experience with Sequelize. This is a hypothetical scenario, and I have some experience with TSQL, but not so much with Sequelize. So I have to deal with this problem. And this is how GitHub Copilot can help me, because I need to understand the project. I need to understand what's going on with the database, but at the same time, I have to come up with new features, right? So that's a little bit challenging. And for some people, it's sometimes overwhelming, but you don't have to worry anymore. Copilot can help you with that. So in V2 of these application, I was asked like, okay, first of all, I don't want to use a server anymore. I am not in the business of managing servers or databases. We want you to move the database to Fabric. And for that, I'm going to use Terraform. Probably I'm not going to focus on that demo today because it would take some time. And then, as you can see here, my stack is the same, but the schema has evolved because I need to introduce new objects. And so I have the magazine subject. So let's do this, and let me show you how you can get up to speed with a project, how you can add things on top of a project. And by the way, one of the things that I was asked as well is like, there's this store procedure that somebody created and it's not performing well. Again, I have some familiarity with TSQL, but I'm not an expert. So here's how, and this was the example from the question for Cesar. This is how Copilot can help us. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing I want to do is, I don't have a database created. So the database, this is a local container. The database is called library. So my project has certain instructions here I can open. And let's open this on the side, and that's okay. All right, so there is like plenty of information here that my senior developer provided to me, like how you can set up the infrastructure using Terraform for your database, how you can run the application from the scratch, do the npm installs, all those things, like configure the environment, blah, blah, blah. I'm done with all of those things. And in fact, when you're working with databases, of course, the best practice is to use an environment variable for your connection string, right? So here's an example. This project itself supports connection strings in this form when you were using something like Fabric, or this other form when you have the parameters using like a local container. So I'm going to go with this one. Obviously, I'm not going to show the passwords and everything. I already have that set up here. This is just an example. So it's all set. So now what I can do is I can start like creating a database. So what I'm going to use here, it's MPS, because this is Sequelize, right? And I got the instructions. So let's do Sequelize, CLI, DB, create. Oops, that was not what I was looking for. And that's going to create a database for me because my connection string is already set up with my environment variables. All good. So my database was created. So let's check. Let's refresh here. Yes, indeed, my database was created. Okay, cool. So the database is there. So what is next? Oh, I need to start the backend. So let's start the backend because this is using Sequelize. So by doing this, this is going to create the different structures and objects on the database. So it's up and running now. Next step, according to my README here, and I don't want to be like jumping back and forth. I know this by memory, but the next step right here is to do the seeding. So if we do this, I can just click on here and seed my database. Let's see the database real quick. Boom. Got it. So I have data, I have my structures, everything is ready for me to get started to understand the project. All right. So usually, typically what we will do is to start by looking at the code and all those things. But as I mentioned, now we have GitHub Copilot, and the extension integrates with GitHub Copilot that introduces a chat participant that is called MSSQL. So let me refresh here. And as you can see, the database is created, has tables, has data probably. So what I can do here to learn more about the structures and everything, I can do a right click, and then I can start the session in ask mode. So ask mode, and maybe Reynald, you can help us here. Ask mode is what is going to be more a chat based. Well, agent is also chat based, but it's more Q&A, right? So I ask something, I get an answer. The GitHub Copilot is not going to engage and do stuff for me. Whether agent is going to do more, right? So I want to show you the difference here. I want to be super clear. Like when you are in ask mode, you will get answers. That's it. When you're in agent mode,
and your project doesn't
Go-
get
go.
touched, it's just to get questions answered and not like to have any work done immediately. Before you do
exactly.
that,
Go ahead. Sure.
question, tame crazy.
Craziness or craziness.
Tame
Yes.
craziness. It's tame craziness, the controlled craziness. What is best practice for offloading parse data to SQL instead of caching it to AI?
Wow, that's a very specific question that unfortunately I don't have the answer. Offloading parse data. What is parse data? Yeah, if you
You know
can
what?
provide us more.
We're in ask mode. Why don't we ask?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was. You just say that. I was going to. That's a question. That's a perfect question. We can ask Copilot here. Copilot right now, it's in the scope of my database. You see that right here, it says add MSSQL. So that means that the session I have right now, it's connected to my server, it's connected to my database. If I ask this question is going to be in the scope of my connection. So I don't know what's going to happen, but let's ask the question. What is the best practice of learning? But that's exactly what I will do. Thanks, Reynald, for the suggestion. Okay, why? I don't know if you experienced that first. Since last night, I was like working with. There we go. Working with different models, and I was getting some not so good performance right here. So great question. As you can see, there are plenty of information here. I guess the best practices are right here. The parse documents, adding indexes here, extracted fields for fast querying, create compute columns for JSON path, hybrid approach. This is with C#. Interesting. This is the recommended. So it's showing me two options basically, right? So one with TSQL and one with C#. Oh, really good. Really good. When to use each approach. So
I love when you
Go
ask
ahead.
questions. I love when you ask questions and it starts off with great question. I'm like, well, thank you.
It's so nice, right?
I don't feel silly. I don't feel ridiculous for asking that question. It appreciates it.
Yeah. So here's your answer, tamed craziness. So I don't have a good answer for you because this is a very complex question, but yeah, you can ask Copilot and you will get a really good and this is something very important here, Reynald. As I mentioned, when I did the right click here over the database and I engage in this session with Copilot in ask mode, I am providing Copilot the context of my database. So that's super important here. Like you can see that it says connected, and we have the icon here for MSSQL. It says connected to the local host in this port and this database. So all the questions I'm asking here are in the scope of my database. So I can ask questions like, for example, what I'm about to do, list all the tables in my database. Remember what I mentioned at the beginning? Like when you start with the project, you need to understand what's going on, right? So the first thing you will do is like you will poke around, going to Object Explorer that I show you, and let me switch to a different model. I was getting some on and off answers with using Claude last night, so it's happening again. So sometimes this is something that happens with AI. There you go. When you're not getting answers with one model, I recommend trying with a different model sometimes for whatever reason. This is new, right? So it doesn't work as expected, but I get my answer. So remember from the previous picture I show you, 3 tables, that's it. So Copilot, you don't have to like click as before. Oh, I think we lost. Oh, there we go. We lost you. Can you hear me?
I
I
can
know.
hear you. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I think we're having some connectivity issues here.
I can hear you fine. Are you able to hear me? And now you're on mute. Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I see you. I don't know if everybody can hear me. Can
We
you
can
hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So it looks like you're back. I saw some spinning wheel in the main window, so I wasn't sure if. There we
Oh,
go. It's again. Yeah, it's me now. So it's probably just StreamYard.
by
I'm
the way,
back.
everyone in the chat, were you able to hear me, or was it just on Carlos's end? Go ahead and answer that. And in the meanwhile, we'll ask one of Han Sohai's questions. He asks, "Can hear both?" They could have heard us both, so that's cool.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that you are on and off, like on and off, but okay. I'm glad. Yeah, everything's fine in YouTube. Okay.
But we have a question. Han Sohawi asks, "Can Copilot learn from a database that has no primary key and foreign key like a data warehouse?"
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And I will show you that in a moment because I have a for store procedure here, have other things, and that store procedure is really bad on purpose. So that's exactly what I'm looking for to Copilot to provide me answers. So if your database has no primary keys, foreign keys, yeah, you can connect, you can ask question why, for example, without saying like it probably going to say, oh, this schema is probably I'm not an expert in data warehouse, but I hear this term like it's a star schema, it's a data warehouse, and that's the reason why the database has this different structure. So yeah. All right. So
another
oh,
question.
go ahead.
Questions are popping up left and right now.
Yeah, okay.
Run Day Tamari asks, "Can I request a tutorial to add another model LLM like Grok and with API?" Actually, on our channel, we have like some videos on BY. Okay, no, that's like using your own key to request a tutorial to add another model. Yeah, so
Yeah.
check those videos out, because when you have like a particular key for another model, then you could like import that in. So BYOK, bring your own key. Look that up, Runday. Okay, let's go ahead.
Okay, yeah, and yeah, you can manage models here. It's right here, and I watch your videos right now. I believe so. So I learned that from your videos in YouTube.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. All right. So let's move on. Let's ask a different question. So this is related to a question that was asked before. What happens if my database has no primary keys or has no? You can ask those questions. So for example, right here, I'm asking, list all the different columns and data types for the authors table, and I get everything. So the possibilities here are immense. I would say you can ask a lot of things. And I have another last question here in NAS mode before we move to agent. So remember when I show you the database here, that there was a table, and actually it's here, books authors. What is that table? I was told that it's a relationship, but I'm not very familiar with that. I can ask that question. Like I noticed that there is this table. Can you explain me what it does? And like I need to understand what's the purpose because I'm asked to do something here and I want to make sure I do it right.
Mm-hmm.
And the answer I got is really good. It tells me, okay, this is a junction table. It's used to link or associate different tables. It represents a many to many relationship. That's on point. That's exactly what I'm looking for. It's like, oh, okay, so this is a many to many relationship. I remember I learned that a long time ago
Mm-hmm.
and at school, and it's like, okay, this can be your teacher. You don't need to be an expert in databases here. You want to be productive. You want to move forward with your applications. Copilot can teach you, can help you to understand your projects here. That's the goal. So this is really cool. I guess I will switch to agent mode because I want to show you more interesting things. Oh
Yeah.
no, before we go, one thing I want to show real quick is the question. I remember the question I got from Craziness about the code. So let me close this really quick here. And what I'm about to do is I have a store procedure here that I was told that is not performing really well. What I'm going to do here is going to use the extension to script out the code. And I have a few options here. This is IntelliSense. We can ignore that. It's saying that, yeah, there is already an object created. So maybe what I can do is like add or alter here. Oops, that's going to solve the issue. Yeah, there you go. All right, so what I can do here is that I can engage with Copilot using the what is called smart actions, and I can ask questions here. But this is using the regular Copilot. Take a look at what happens if I do right click here. I have a new menu that says, or a new context menu that says MSSQL Copilot. So this is in the scope of my extension and everything here. And I can ask, okay, explain this query to me. And it's going to grab everything here and it's going to explain to me what this store procedure is doing. So I get like business logic, I get like, and you can do a lot of things, but yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's done. So that was fast. So I get the business logic, what is the goal, the why, it explains me the structure, the context and everything. But I was told that this is not performing well. So guess what? I can do right click again and I can ask Copilot to analyze the performance. So this is really good because it's going to, once again, analyze what the store procedure is doing and provide me with different recommendations about how I can improve the performance. Here's some information about the execution plan, potential bottlenecks, relevant statistical metrics. So it's a lot of information, as you can see. Optimization suggestions. And at the end, I remember, yes, there is a key finding and recommendations. Of course, you can dig a little bit more and you can ask very specific questions about, for example, what is, this string aggregate doing here? Why there is a left join here? So that was a question. I believe it was Team Craziness ask us, and I can ask this question differently as well. If I don't,
By the
I
way,
don't have the. Yeah, go ahead.
um, the context menu that you showed when you right click,
Yeah,
that's part of the extension, right? If we didn't have the
that is
extension,
correct.
okay.
Yeah, that is correct. So when, for example, right here, I have this open editor, and that's one of the prerequisites for or requisites for AS mode. You have to have a query editor enable or open because this connection and everything happening here is in the scope of that open connection. So when I did the right click here and scripted out the code, I did the right click here again, and then I selected MSSQL Copilot, and then I asked the question. So the context, as you can see here at the top, is still in the same database and the same, exactly same context. So yeah.
Nice.
But I wanted to show you something. What happens if you don't have access to the code? That was the question, right? The question was like, can Copilot do reverse engineering, give me the code and explain what's going on? Yes, you can. So for example, right here, I'm just dropping the name and I'm asking Copilot to do the heavy lifting for me. So here it says that returns the books. It's not providing so too much, right? So you have to be better in prompt engineering here. So I have a better prompt. That prompt was like, yeah, this is returning a list of books for each book, blah, blah, blah. But this other prompt is better. Explain the functionality, identify inefficiencies, provide me recommendations, and it's the same store procedure. So, and Copilot can give you the actual source code for sure. So yeah, that was the question that was asked before. And voila, I got my, and you can see that the code right here, that's exactly the code from the store procedure. So this is the power of this integration we introduce in the extension. You can do more with this, obviously. So let's switch gears to agent mode really quick. So I'm going to delete this and I'm going to go to agent mode. There is something I skip on purpose. So I mentioned that we introduced a lot of new features into extension. One of the most requested features when I was talking to developers was I need to understand my schema better. Like I can run queries, I can probably use Copilot, but that's not enough. And I was like, okay, yeah, as a developer, I understand. And the first thing I will do is like look at the documentation and look at diagrams. So what if I tell you, Reynald, that we can, let's say, use, let me engage here using agent mode so I don't have to provide the context. I'm going to right click here and I'm going to switch agent mode here, context. So right here, what I'm doing is like I'm providing agent mode the context of my connection because it needs to connect, right? So it's going to connect to localhost, GitHub Copilot. I didn't feel like typing that, so I wanted Copilot to figure out that for me. So there we go. So right now the context in agent mode is set for my database. That's what I did with a right click. Okay. I can start asking questions. So the question I was saying was about this. If I type it's like pound sign or hash sign, and I type MSSQL, you see that I get access to all the different functions I can run in agent mode. One right here that says show schema. But if I told you that we introduced schema designer, so that's a visual way for developers to understand their databases, to understand their schemas, and not just understand, they can document the schema. You can make changes to the schema. You can get the source code to the schema. Let me close this down really quick. So it's super powerful. And I did that using agent mode. So you can imagine the possibilities here, right? So you can start asking questions. Oh, I see that there is, remember the question I asked before, books authored. What is that? And if you feel like, you can use this to make changes. Let's say you want to introduce a new column here. You can take advantage of this visual designer to make changes, add new columns. For example, if you want to filter in a specific table, let's say authors, you can do it. If you have a more, like, I can give you an example of a more complex schema. Of course, you want to learn more. You can show the relationships. Let me center this up again. So super cool, right? So, and we're working on something here that will integrate Copilot better with this experience. But right now, this provides you a better view of your schema. The source code is here. If you want to make changes, you can. So super, super powerful, as I mentioned. So let me open this again.
That's great for documentation that you don't have to.
Oh yeah, exactly. And I don't know if you noticed, but there was, I closed it too fast. Let me open a different database real quick. So right click here, schema designer. So it's not exclusively with Copilot. You can use it in extension. This is a larger schema. And if I want to export the schema to SVG, PNG, or JPEG, I can do it. So yeah, it's really neat. I really like it because it saves a lot of time. And let's search here for products. Very quick products.
Amazing work, Carlos. Says Tiago Balabuch.
Oh, Tiago. Yeah, thank you, Tiago. He's a friend, so probably he's. Thanks for watching this live streaming. So yeah, let's go back to agent mode. I believe we're short in time because of the technical issues we had and everything. I wanted to show you more. I show you the schema. One thing I didn't do is like, okay, remember I was asked to create a new table, right? And all the information I got from my boss was like that there is like these JSON document, like this JSON object, excuse me, that this is what I want. He gave me an example. This is what I want. I want you to create a magazine tables using this structure. So why not, right? So I can ask Copilot to help me. Here's the deal. Because I'm not very familiar with Sequelize, I can get around with TSQL here, asking Copilot to assist me creating the tables for me. Yeah, that's exactly what I would like to see. And we're in agent mode. Yes, we're in agent mode, right? So let me know if you want to create it. Yes, I was asking you to create a table using. Let me do something different using MSSQL. Oh, let me switch to a different. I believe Claude, it's better with those tasks. Yeah, create a new empty table, and that's supposed to create a table in my database. And that's exactly, yeah, I'll create. I don't know why. Sometimes, as I mentioned, some models are better than others in certain tasks. And right now it's giving me the script, and that's not what I want. That's interesting. Oh, there you go. So right here, this is what I want. I want the agent to create a table for me. So it's going to connect here, and let's go out a little bit. And that happens sometimes. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to click continue, and that's going to create the table for me. Perfect. The table was created, and it's using the schema I described, right? So I just drop, and it can be a screenshot. Doesn't need to be text, right? So you can drop a screenshot, say, hey, I want you to create a table like this, and Copilot can do it. Of course, you need to check what Copilot is doing. You cannot like blindly say yes to everything. So let's double check here really quick. I clicked something wrong. Okay, and we have the table magazines here. We can take advantage of the table editor, and this is looking too cluttered. Okay, and this is what Copilot created for me. It looks really good. So this is the magazines table, but I want more, and I will do it really quick. I want to create more because I want Copilot to assist me creating this new feature. So I want Copilot to create the many-to-many relationships. So right here is like, I need, remember in the diagram, I have like magazines author. I'm not very good at that, but I learned that based on the questions I ask. So now Copilot is going to create those tables for me. But before it does that, this is something I really like about this agent mode, is like, it needs to understand the context, because I gave the context of my database. Right now, it's going to create a new connection, it's going to pull the structure, and it's going to understand what are the different columns that makes the magazines table, authors table. So when the author magazines underscore authors table is created, is created correctly. And this is what happens. It's happening here. You can see that it's pulling the information about the columns. So this is really good. In my opinion, this is what I will expect from an AI tool, to explore my schema, understand what is there, and come up with suggestions that make sense. That's all thanks to the integration we created. This context, without the context of the connection, that won't be possible. Unless you have like static files and stuff like that, yeah, it's possible, but not live, like right here. So it looks like it's done. Right now, this is something else you mentioned right now. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was saying that that's very cool. I hope that like in the future, the code editor itself could like recommend, hey, I see you're asking about this. Have you considered using this model? Like it could like suggest you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because as you say, some models work better than others for particular tasks. We do have a couple of
Yes.
other questions that came in. Germ Boy
Sure.
says, will we be getting update project from database and other ADS features like that anytime soon?
Yeah. I don't know what you mean with project update project. I understand you're talking about SQL database projects. So if you can ping me, I think my information, my contact information is in the video description. You can ping me and I'll be happy to take your requirement. There is also a link you can use. I can drop the link in the chat. You can submit your feature requests to us so we can take a look at what you need and feature requests. There we go. And I'm going to drop it in the chat. Oh, it's asking me to connect to YouTube. So I'll try to do that real quick.
Our producer could do that. She could drop your contact info. So
Okay.
So
Yeah.
in the what were you going to say something else before I go on to the next comment?
Oh no, I was going to say that yeah, if you can ping me, that would be great, so I can understand what you're talking about. SQL database projects, it's managed by a different PM, but yeah, we can definitely work on what you are looking for in that regard.
Okay, and
the comment, there's a really interesting comment right there, Reynald, that says this looks like MCP on steroid.
Yeah.
Oh, so yeah, you can do MCP as well. It depends on what you want to do. That was super funny. But yeah, it's amazing. And I didn't show like all the things, but this is crazy what I'm about to do. This other prompt, and I can like keep this running on the background. What it's going to do is like generate mockup data. It's going to look at the existing structure. It's going to insert the data in both of my tables, and I'll get everything created. So at this point, I'll be done with the database, right? So I have the structures created, I'll have the mockup data, but I have a huge problem, and I did that on purpose. Everything I'm doing so far, it's TSQL. Remember I mentioned that at the beginning? I'm familiar with TSQL, feel fine with TSQL, but not very good with Sequelize. And Sequelize, unfortunately, don't have a way out of the box to do reverse engineering, so I cannot synchronize my schema from from the SQL schema to Sequelize. So guess what I'm going to use for that? Once again, GitHub Copilot. So Copilot can read my schema, can read the changes I made, and then generate the Sequelize models for me.
Nice.
That's really cool.
Cool.
I can't hear you anymore, Reynald, again.
Well, I'm trying to pronounce her name. Can you hear me right now?
It's me.
I'll continue talking to see if you can start hearing.
Can you hear me, Reynald? I can't hear anymore again.
Yes, I can hear you.
I don't know what's going on with the
connection.
with the audio here. I might need to come back again.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, let me drop and come back again. I don't know what's going on.
All right. All right. So while he goes and comes back, let me go ahead and read this here. Akatsuki. Okay. Tidara. You guys are challenging me with like the names. I feel like I'm learning how to read for the first time. Akatsuki asks, is it safe if we let agent read our data from our company, or should we only use it for production environment data? Am I correct? Let me bring it up. Okay.
I can hear you again.
You can hear me again?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. All right. So we have one more question here.
Yeah.
By the way, like this both. So I think it's just on your end for some reason. But we have Akatsuki who asks, is it safe to let agent read our data from a company, or should you only use for development environment data? And this for security purposes.
Yeah. Of course.
What do you think?
So yeah, there is a page I always like use as reference, and I would look for that page right now. GitHub Copilot has an FAQ, really good FAQ. So when you are using GitHub Copilot, especially in VS Code, all your PI and all that data is encrypted. both ways, right? And when you're interacting with the model don't get access to your actual data, and there is some particular, I would say, architecture that uses special servers in Azure, and it's a very complicated thing, I would say, but it's safe, it's encrypted. I would say that it depends of your company, depends of your policies, it depends on what you want to do, right? Right here, for me, it's safe because I'm using some mockup data, I'm using my developer environment, so it's okay with me. I'm trying to look for that FAQ that provides a lot of information on that. So I would say that it depends of your company policies. The documentation is out there. The whole process is documented how Copilot manages the data. We don't use your data for training purposes. We don't keep your data nowhere. So that's my answer. I don't know, Reynald, if you have any other recommendation. I'm looking for the link right now.
I was gonna say, like, I think the bottom line is the data published anywhere where it would feel like it'd be compromised?
Not at all. No, we don't retain data. We don't use data for training purposes. No, not at all. Privacy. Oh, privacy FAQ. That's the one. Trust Center. So I'm going to drop the link here in our chat. People, where is the chat? Chat recording. Studio chat. So I'm going to drop that link. That's super important. So that was a great question. Which team is this? My team, Atom Dark. Go ahead, Reynald.
Yeah. No, I was going to say, as Copilot would say, great question. So one last question here. What theme is this?
Yeah, it's Atom Dark one. So let me put it here. It's a custom one. I remember I use a custom Atom one Dark. So yeah, it looks really good. Let me show you something really quick before we close. As I mentioned, I was working with TSQL, right? So I got my structures created. I have my mockup data. So I have everything I need for my app. And my app is up and running, by the way. And let me see real quick here. No, it wasn't running. Let me just run yeah, it's running now. So my app is here. So I'm going to use a simple browser here. And boom, this was my app. So you can see, this is a library management and it's working. If I want to add a new author here, like myself, that's a very selfish thing to do, but it works. I have a new author. So my app is here. So this is a live app. And I asked Copilot here because I mentioned that I got everything using TSQL, right? So I got magazines author, I have data here. Then the next step was, as I mentioned, to get to the next step because I did everything using TSQL, and Sequelize has no easy way to do reverse engineering. So I asked Copilot here in agent mode to read all my structures, all this TSQL code, and translate that into Sequelize. So take a look at what's going on here. This is super interesting. It's like created a new models, and I asked a very, like, a very detailed prompt here. Like I said, yeah, you need to follow the same model structure. You need to follow the same style. I want you to include the associations. That's the thing on Sequelize. I want you to respect the relationship. So what I will expect at the end is this. And this is spectacular to me. It's creating seeding data. I remember I asked for the mockups and everything, like, oh, I need data. I need to test this out. It's even including the seeding data.
Wow, nice.
I cannot ask for more. So this is really cool.
Another question snuck in there.
Yeah.
Do you advise about using do you advise using MCP versus direct ask chat? Which one consumes more tokens?
If you're talking about in the scope of databases, once again, it depends. It goes down to the policy on your enterprise. If your enterprise is totally okay with MCP, that's fine. MCP is in a very early stage, I would say. At least for databases, you have to be careful. That's what I would say. You have to be careful. Of course, you can protect your data. You can use a development environment, but
But which one's more
it comes.
expensive? Like which ones ends up using more tokens? Like when you're using MCP or just like chat, like direct ask chat?
Oh, got it. Oh, that's a good question. I don't know the difference, and it should be documented somewhere. I know here we get the access, like when you're using agent mode, you consume more tokens than ask mode and that stuff. That's documented somewhere. I don't have the link here.
Yeah, that's a hard
Do
thing
you,
to ask because
yeah, that's
because I feel like it depends on what you're asking. Like if it's a simple question, then yeah, the token might be low. And for MCP, it depends on what it's doing, right? It depends on what
yeah.
server. So some servers are going to be more expensive than others. So it varies. It really depends.
Yeah, it's a hard question. Yeah, some models consume more tokens than other, and that's why if you look here, I remember you get the, and I was working on with Olivia on this because oh no, there is another way you can see it here. I forgot right here. You can see your usage, and there is a page you can open here, and you can understand more about this. But this is a very complex team, I would say. Yeah.
Okay.
I have one last thing to show, but I don't know if we have time. So you saw that, like here, I got a bunch of stuff created by Copilot. As I said, it did the reverse engineering I was looking for. I created the different models. I already had those models like in a different branch. So I have a different branch here, Git branch. You'll see that I have B2. So if I stash and delete all the changes in this branch, switch this other branch, I drop the database and create a database, and I will show you that everything that was created by Copilot works. That's what I did when I created this demo. I like, okay, this is good, but I need to test this out, right? So I like basically I merged it, I commit the changes, then I recreate a model on my database because I got like new seeders, right? So the seeders right here, it's including the magazine's mockup data. So that's what I did, and in this branch, and it works. So that's another thing. Like when you're using AI, you need to make sure you check everything, you test everything, because you cannot blindly trust an AI. It's really helpful. I reckon that, but you always need to double check your work. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, we should probably be wrapping up right now. I think
Sure.
more questions are coming in, but
Nice.
I would
I can
say, yeah, go ahead.
I can stay, or like I can stay on YouTube, and I can like answer any questions. That's totally fine. The my contact information is there in the video description, so feel free to reach out. Happy to chat with you guys if you have questions.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. So feel free to like reach out to him and then he could answer the questions. And it'll also be like on YouTube, so you could just respond to some of these questions here. But
Oh,
the best
mhm.
way to contact you for your new fans out there.
I would say LinkedIn. That's easier. So I am very active at LinkedIn. So let me drop that in the studio chat. People, and where's the studio chat? Like StreamYard just changed these. I'm trying to find that. So I believe it's on the video description, but I would drop the link to my. I don't have access for some reason. I don't see the chat. Oh, right here. Oh, I got it. So this is the link to my LinkedIn. So feel free to connect and drop me a message, and yeah, happy to take your questions
Perfect.
or hear your requirements in case you have more requirements.
Great. This was awesome. That was so much. Oh my goodness. This was like
Yes.
this went by so fast and we're already like about like an hour, 20 minutes. So, wow, that's like a huge extension. I could see that a lot of work went into that. So, thanks so much for demonstrating all those different scenarios with this awesome new extension. And yeah, that should be it. Any final words?
No, I would say like check the links in this video description. There are playlists to our demos in YouTube. You will get introduced to the different features we have been releasing since last year. And yeah, feel free to ping me if you have more questions. And so thank you so much for having me, Reynald. Again, thank you everyone for being here with us. And yeah, we're excited to keep evolving, working with Copilot, and hopefully I will be here again to show you a new thing we will be introducing soon.
Absolutely. And folks, don't forget, if you're not subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and do so. We also have our TikTok channel that you could follow us on, as our producers are dropping our links to our socials right now. But I appreciate everybody joining, and we will see you in the next episode, the next stream.
Cool. Thank you all. Bye.